Gosh, for city and state in the chat if you can hear me. And yes, reporting from our cell phone at the office because we forgot all our other stuff. All right, so listen, come in if you can hear me, see me, drop a one in the comments. This is going to be a chock full of great information, and I'll try to get out of here in reasonable time because I haven't eaten all day. I've literally been working nonstop, and I literally, I I bought some stocks this morning. I traded today. So I feel like I'm literally the Wolf of Wall Street. So I'm trying to get my brain back. And so you probably see the title and you see the thumbnail, right? Do you smoke crack, don't you? You smoke crack, don't you? And so when you read, once you study any bit of the news and you start like really reading what's happening, you're like, is the government smoking crack? Is Janet Yellen smoking crack? What is going on, right? And so part of this video is talking about learning and unlearning. Why? Because so many things change and grow in our economy, and for you to act like you don't need to learn new things is just shocking, right? Because life is nothing but lifelong learning, right? Like, it really scares me when people don't think like that. So prime example of where I wanted to kick this off with is there was 30 high school seniors at this school in Georgia. I think it's Georgia, it might be Texas. And I was watching a little bit on the news, and they were like, only 5 seniors could graduate, were ready and qualified. Now, here's my problem with that. A school that small with only 30 seniors, they could do after school study programs. You know what I'm saying? But at the end of the day, it's not the school's job to educate your kid. It's not the school's job to make sure your senior is supposed to graduate on time. And there really is no time for them to make up because the graduation walking was like the next week. And they were like, that's not fair to the children. You know what's not fair to the children? You're not checking on them. You're not educating them. You're not putting them in a position to win. Because let me tell you something. If you got 25 out of 30 seniors who cannot graduate and leave high school, they ain't going to college. They may go to community college, but if they can't even pass, high school is literally the equivalent of like 8th grade at this point. I went to all AP classes. By the time I got 9th grade, they were like, girl, you ain't gonna come in here and talk in our classes because you're bored. All AP for the rest of your high school career. You know what I'm saying? So it just is what it is, right? So your parents have to have some responsibility in this. And I bring that up to start this way is they're on zombie mode, right? That's my former high school in Marlin, Texas. It had to be Marlin, didn't it? Right down the street from Dallas where they just cut up with that black basketball coach. It's a daggone shame. I don't know what they're going to do up there. Okay, so let me go ahead and hit it for you guys, because that wasn't my only point. My point is I'm going into a deeper conversation, so I hope you guys are ready. The zombie mode that people are on. The old American dream is like $100K in student loan debt. You went to a prestigious school, you know, you got a $20K wedding, right? You got a $60K car loan, you got a $400,000 mortgage, and you're living the middle class dream. And I'm gonna tell you right now, I just found this out earlier this week. This will stay. It ain't gonna stay. Earlier this week that Maryland was paying people's student loans as long as they bought a house. They pay up to $50K. Now, why was Maryland doing that? Because Maryland is experiencing a brain drain out of Baltimore, out of most of the cities. It's the people that come in. So how can you convince young people to come to Maryland? Hey, you buy a house in Maryland, a townhouse, a house, we'll pay off $50,000 student loan debt. Now, who is going to have huge student loan debt? People from Maryland, New York, Connecticut, people that went to Ivy League schools. It doesn't mean they're the best and the brightest, but it means that how can you make your city or your state more competitive? Bringing the brain back, right? We can look now as adults and see nerds run a lot of things, right? Robert Kiyosaki has this book where A students work for C students. Now that works in a concept of people who have courage don't always be A students, right? But you need the A students to run the company, right? You need the accountants, you need the lawyers, you need the doctors. And so states can't perform well if you don't have young people. New Jersey is also experiencing a brain drain. Now you're gonna say, Ericka, what does all this have to do with Janet Yellen and liquidity and the credit crunch? And I'm just gonna place you like this: if you're a Bitcoin holder, and again, feel free to argue with me on another day, but not today. Bitcoin is about to experience a choke point 2.0. I don't know if you know what this is. Choke point 2.0. Why is this important? Because Argentina and several countries are starting to like really put the brakes on letting their currency go over to Bitcoin. Most people wouldn't care about that, right? Because there's very few people buying Bitcoin, but it's an example of capital controls. Okay. Now I don't want to lose y'all. I don't want to lose y'all because we're about to go a little deeper. But the reason I'm bringing up the old American way of doing things and the new, you're talking about people, new American way is zero debt, multiple sources of income, not dependent on a 9 to 5, being able to live wherever you want. So in order for some of these states and businesses and capital to function, we need to kind of lock some people back into what? The old American dream. The best way I can kind of break this down is I've seen at least 15 posts talking about we're 100 days away from football. We're 100 days away from football. I've even posted things saying we're 100 days away from football. I'm 100 days away from Colorado against Texas. We got Texas on right now. Colorado University versus TCU. It's the game opener in Fort Worth, right? We've been talking about it already. It's 100 days away. And I want to propose to you guys 100 days of like credit, get into it, right? Like whatever you're trying to do, get into it. Because even if they resolve the debt ceiling, they've already caused the issue. Now you're gonna say, Ericka, I don't feel anything. What do you mean? Okay. If you're like me currently, okay, you're working in tech, you girl, you got some interviews going through. But anyway, you're working in tech, your banks are going, oh, you make all this money in your business and you do tech. Oh yeah, I'll cash you out 100%. You're doing new construction, we'll cover 100% of the loan. I go in there and ask for a Porsche. Oh, we can't do that. I go in there and ask for a lower interest rate on a home mortgage. Oh, we can't do that. What if I want to get an SBA loan for a business? Oh, we can do that. So what they're trying to do is they're literally putting money with people who are what? Producing. You're either building new construction because the government has pushed it down our neck, right? Put it down our neck. That okay, we need more houses. We need more houses. So we're gonna legislate all these things so we can get what? More houses. Okay, right? Now who gonna build them houses? Right? We just seen what happened in Florida. Now I'm gonna tell you like this: there are plenty of white, black, regular men that are legal, have driver's license that want to work. This is a great time for them to win, a great time for them to segment. There is a great opportunity in low-tech learning and handyman businesses and in repairing, because this country is going to spend the next 50 to 100 years repairing some of the beautiful architect and work. Y'all saw what happened in Detroit. They kicked in my Magna. They took my heater. They took my boiler. They took my AC thing. And the people that came were what? Hispanic. The black man that was scheduled to come, he was double booked. He said, I'm too booked. So our friend called our Latino friends. We said, we'll be there today. We'll be there in 20 minutes. What you need? And we're going to need some low-tech, can-do spirit. Okay? Now, where am I going with this? I got more. Hold on. Are y'all ready for more? Put a 1 in the comments if you're ready for more, because it's a lot coming. Now, what are the three? Gosh, man, it's hard for me to hold this in. I'm trying to think of the best way to do this. All right, so tighter credit conditions. What does that look like? Tighter credit conditions, it's consumer debt. It's credit cards, right? When we kept telling y'all they're gonna tighten up some of them lines, banks are competing really heavy right now. Truist Bank, Key Bank, Capital One. I literally just got a vehicle. None of your business, with Capital One, and then all of a sudden Capital One's like, hey, we can prove you for another one. You have good income. we'll approve you for another one. And I'm like, wait a minute, Cap One, I don't need nothing else. We got 50K more. You want some more? You're like, no, I don't need no more. Get out of here. Truist Bank. Then I hit every mailbox I got. Hey man, listen, look, man, come on, man. You know what I'm saying? It's real crazy out here right now. So the credit conditions, if they tighten because of Yellen, some of your friends that were using credit cards to travel, they were using credit cards to pay their rent, right? Because there was 2 years ago where they stopped letting people use their credit card to pay rent because of the interest rates. And then all of a sudden, a little bit of protesting from Visa, they opened it back up. So we'll talk about that another way. So if we have the tighter credit conditions, what are the three pillars that I'm just giving you again? This is not financial advice. This is my opinion on this. I'm not certified. Go ahead. Number three, sorry, I'm looking at my notes right here. Okay, so the three pillars, these are the three pillars I'm personally, right this moment, right now doing. Cash and T-bills. Now I ain't doing T-bills right now, but my significant other is doing T-bills. So cash is one of the legs. Again, we have three pillars. I mean, we call them pillars. We can call them three legs of a stool. We can call them three arch support or something. I don't know what you want to call them, but I'm gonna call them three pillars. Cash and T-bills is in one pillar. These are, money market accounts, stuff that you can grab the cash pretty quickly. Number two is equities and long-term compounding investments. How can I break that down more? Energy, right? So people are like, invest in the pipelines because they're less volatile than the actual energy producers, the actual people getting the oil out of the ground. For me, I'm the reverse. I'm like, let me take this 26,000 and this 50,000 and put it directly into an oil plant, right? Because we seen Putin don't care. They ain't playing with us. We seen Mexico has now decided they're not gonna share no more oil. They ain't sharing no oil, no gas. They not gonna do that next year. They said they're not sharing. So why would I, as an American, not think of the best way to long-term compounding returns is going to be in what? Equities and long-term compounding investments. And so for me, energy producers is that. The part two of that is energy pipelines. Many people say, oh, Houston, Texas is going to suffer because of Putin and the energy and the OPEC. And I'm like, no, it's like gangbusters out there now, because now there are people with hundreds of old wells on their land and people coming out like, hey, we'll lease it from you. What do you need? How much money do you need? And so that's happening right now at a very high rate in Texas. So, people always think it's boom and bust, and that's more of West Texas. Houston area, they still got men climbing up on ladders, going up and down with harnesses on, up and down the oil rig, the oil, what is the name of that place by Beaumont, y'all? If you're from Houston, you know what I'm talking about. It's several of those energy producing, my brain's gone. I told you I ate all day, y'all. Many of the O'Neill Parker, if you ever seen the show I did with him, he used to climb the ladder because they would pay you $45 to $50 an hour. And you had to be under 180 pounds. Well, not many men, unfortunately, in our current society are under 180 pounds. And so, you have the harness on, you're going up and down the roads. It's over there, but it's basically the energy oil producing thing, right? Not the pipeline, but that. So that's bussing. That's bussing. Now, number three is commodities and hard money. Why am I saying commodities and hard money? Hard money is bussing right now. If you got a house, if you got friends and family that were able to get a HELOC, if you meet people who are right now, there's a young man in San Antonio selling me a list of buyers. Now, what is he selling me? If I can kind of dig a little deeper with y'all. He has a list of 2.3 million cash buyers. Now, you tell him what particular cities and states you want, and he'll go ahead and get you the list that you need. Why is that important? Why is that important? Why is that important? Does anybody ever follow me? Did I lose y'all on commodities and hard money? That's the third pillar. First pillar is cash and T-bills. Second pillar is equities and long-term compounding investments, and I'll break that down some more. And the third one is commodities and hard money. why would I want to list? Why would I want to pay somebody thousands of dollars for a list of cash money buyers in America that were originally for wholesalers? You understand? Okay, sure, you understand what I'm saying. So I would want that list because someone who is doing what? Trying to create velocity with their extra income. If they can't work with wholesalers anymore because wholesaling is very tight, when credit conditions tighten and when the equity's not there in those houses, they're going to be looking to work with who? Right? They're going to be looking to work with new construction people. They're going to be looking to work with small business. They're going to be looking to buy what? Portions of people's business. Right? That's right. They're going to be looking to do that. And so that list is important because 9 times out of 10, if somebody's made this list, they're on other people's list as well. But I'm just putting it to you like this. The most simple way I can break this down is I'm in a group of apartment investors and they bought 36, at this point it's 36 really, apartment homes and mobile home parks. And you're like, how are we moving so fast in a 4-year window? How are we moving so fast? Because out of our 600 members, 520 are tech people who have excess income and they have bonuses and they have sales. The other 80 to 100 people are business owners, right? So they're tired of going to the bank. They're tired of going to stock market and getting 10 to 12% returns. They're looking for 23, 24, 25% returns. Okay. And so this is why that's the third leg. Because if you get into a position of where, let's say you have a house, and this is why I get so fussy with y'all. That's why I have the thumbnail, do you smoke crack? Right? When people argue me about buying a home, because the interest rates, Ericka, I hear you, but where do you think the wealth transfer just came from? I'm just going to give you Austin, for example, which is, and Houston was even 10x it, right? Austin had people buy homes in March 2020 for $250,000, very common price in Austin at that time. By the end of 2020, those same houses were $497,000. So now that person has what? Almost $300,000 in equity. Now people are saying, Ericka, but Austin took a hit. It's crashing. This is a very popular thing on YouTube that doesn't exist in real life. Oh, it's crashing. It's crashing. Okay, so the house that was 250 that went to 497 is now 420. So 420 minus 257 is what, y'all? Let's just say 260 for sake of argument. If a house is worth 420,000 right now, minus 260,000, what is that? Put it in the comments for me. And I know it takes a little bit of delay, so go ahead and put that in the comments for me. Put that in the comments for me. $420,000 house minus 360,000. I mean, God, oh, y'all, I'm sorry, I ain't ate all day. $420,000 minus 260. Again, I'm not gonna move till we get this answer. We gotta participate. There's 181 people in here. I'm not moving until we participate. So y'all figure out what y'all want to do. Dr. DK said 160K. All right, I need more participation. Listen, I'm not gonna keep moving the show unless y'all participate. I can go eat dinner with my spouse and call it a day. I ain't gotta do this. All right, 160,000. Okay, so this person who bought a home basically 3 years ago is sitting on 160,000 in equity. So when someone wants to argue with you about the home ownership argument, when I saw people in Houston who bought $450,000, $500,000 homes, and they were selling this year for 900,000 and 800,000, these people have gotten 150 to 300,000 in appreciation. Do you think banks were more friendly to give them more credit cards and lines of credit because they were a homeowner? This is where when people lose me when they want to argue about the merits of home ownership, and Grant Cardone told me not to own a home, but Grant Cardone owns two of them. Okay, they want to tell you about their cousin Lisa and their uncle Ricky Bob, and they're telling them not to own a home. Okay, good luck with that, right? They want to talk to you about house hacking and they don't know. If y'all house hack an apartment, that's just called roommates, okay? That's different. That's just roommates. So where is this hard money going to come from, y'all? How fast do you think if I'm living in a home and it went up 160,000 in value, and for some of these people 300,000 in value, how long do you think it's going to take me to figure out how to get some of this money out of this house? How long? Right? People like the economy. I'm going to do what? I'm going to figure out how to get some money out of this house, right? Now, what's another vector? What's another, because people are like, why is everybody talking about business credit? What's another vector they can put their money in while they're concerned? Economic resistant businesses, or what we call mom and pop shops, right? We're talking about the UPS store, the postal store. People still need their mail to go somewhere. Storage units. We're talking about the car washes. Everybody complains in every city. There's car washes on every corner. You know why? Because there are men who will pull up to the car wash and wash that car every day like clockwork. Now there are also women who do that. Like I literally take my car once a week and just dump it, right? Service businesses, exactly, self-made. They're going to take their money and either do what? They're either going to have their spouse have the service business. They're going to help their cousin keep his service business, right? Because 9 times out of 10, when you're talking to a mom and pop owner, they're struggling in something. Like they have the concept, they have the ideal, they may be great with staff, but they're either lacking in money, they're lacking in marketing, they're lacking in the vision for long-term vision, right? So on my 3 pillars, my long-term compounding is not just stocks, it's not just some land, it's possibly a few small businesses that I don't have to physically be in there running. Because you're like, Ericka, you doing too much. You over here doing tech sales, you're over here doing this. It's about to be out. Hold on. You guys came in here cleaning this dust. Okay, so what am I going to do in these conditions? Right? So if it costs me, and I'm just trying to give you hypotheticals, let's say I'm making 157 at the company I'm working at. And let's say my business made, 400,000, but it's a low year. So maybe it's making only 300,000, right? And I got to pay my editors. I got to pay my staff. I got to keep the marketing going. It don't need much of my attention at this point because we have over 2,500 videos and we got our editing team chopping up 300 videos right now to put on 2 other channels. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's really the consistency of my work at this point. Now, sorry, real dusty in here. Now, if I go over and Credit Irene, which you guys have seen all my links, Credit Irene comes in and is like, yo, I'm teaching a tax preparation business course. And some of my students in here, I don't name people's names. I know Ericka might be watching. He is a trucker and he bought the whole package to deal, let her put everything together for 10K. She's got the website up. She's got the phone. She got everything ready. It just needs a person working in the office. It just needs an office location and a person working. Now, many of the people are going to say, Ericka, people can do their own taxes. People can do their own tax. People can just buy TurboTax, Ericka. If I just told you at the beginning of this show that 30 seniors near Marlin, Dallas, 25 of the 30 ain't graduating, how many people you think are qualified to do their own taxes? How many? How many? Let's do that math. Brandy's in here. Listen, she's an accountant. How many are qualified to do their own taxes? Let's do that math. Especially when you have the IRS hiring 80,000 people. How many want to get an audit? I just showed you documents that showed African Americans are 5 times more likely to be audited. And I think that's truly because, to be honest, the last 2 people I know that got audited, they were working as school teachers and then they became nurses and their income tripled. And the government was like, girl, what's going on? Right? Because the government, let's just go be honest, is going off stats and data. So they're assuming you're going to be making 30K your whole life. You're from a poor family, so you shouldn't be making all this money. See, y'all have this system that y'all think is working for y'all, but really it's just keeping good data and good numbers. So if I'm a computer and you all of a sudden hit a lick, you have a wonderful year. Because I post people having wonderful years on here all the time. The computer gonna go, you know what? That seems off. She's African American. She lives in the hood, and she just made 120K tech or something. Let's audit her. Do you know what I'm saying? I'm trying to get y'all to understand that this is all, like, a lot of this stuff is computers, and a lot of these people coming out nowadays are gonna need help. So that's just an example of somebody spending 10K, and now if they get 2,000 clients in a 5-month window, where people freak out about doing their taxes, they made $1 million. They have $1 million business. Let's say they only have 1,000 people come through. You got a $500,000 business. You do what I'm saying? Audit it because of Venmo's, Cash App. Listen, I know so many barbers and hair salon girls who are like, Cash App, Venmo, don't leave this chair without paying me. So now they got money coming from all these different places. You don't think the government like, well, I need to keep track of that for you. Right? So that's just one example. Another example, and this is why when people argue with me about template businesses, I'm going, owning a car wash is a template business. Owning a barbershop is a template business. You just run out the chairs. Owning a hair salon is a template business. Owning a little, food truck in Austin, Texas is a template business. So when people sit here and try to say template businesses suck, if you're just talking about Airbnb and Turo, then yeah, that's not what I'm talking about. Template businesses, I can go online right now, right? Prime example, credit repair. There's over 7,000 to 10,000 companies. They're not certain at any given time, but there's only literally 250 people registered with the credit repair lobby industry, right? This is something I learned. So we got 7,000, 10,000 people who are like, I'll do credit. They got the polls, they on the internet, but only 250 of them are on the donating to the lobbyists. What does that tell you about that industry? You know what I'm saying? So there's template businesses for just about anything. The key and the difference is the sales and the marketing. Can you afford the sales and market for the year? Not everybody can. That's why you hear so many people talking about business credit. Why are they talking about it's a cyclical thing. I'm gonna go there. Why are they talking about business credit? Because they don't have a house that they can pull equity from, and then they don't have the job that has a high paying job. It's a circle. It's a circle. So if we can solve 1 million people, which at some point either it's going to be Latino or Black, 1 million people coming up into these tech jobs and these higher paid jobs, and even these low tech, low infrastructure service businesses, and they're making significant money a year, 100K a year. That's better for all communities, because at the end of the day, that allows them to do what? Buy a home, buy better cars, be able to have what? Equity, right? Then from equity, be able to invest their money, have life insurance, all these things, right? I'm hoping I'm not losing y'all here, but this is why this credit crisis and credit crunch and liquidity matters. If I can compare it, liquidity crunch is when Robinhood 3 times in one week or one day, you couldn't even buy or sell on Robinhood because they ran out of liquidity. Research that on your own. Research that on your own. Diamond Dave talked about it, other people talked about it. Research that on your own. The fact that I'm with E-Trade, and E-Trade got sold off to JP Morgan Chase, right? Now everybody's stuff changes, right? And I have multiple other accounts that I do different things with, different testing things. But all this is going to, if the government, I'm trying to not overload y'all here with a brain dump, all the stuff I've been doing all day. If the government can't really cut Medicaid, Medicare, defense, Social Security, that's 99% of the budget right there. If we don't cut anything else, and y'all seen videos online, please watch them. Let's say we don't cut, we can't cut those. We gotta have Medicaid, Medicare, Social Security, defense, because that's how we enforce people using our dollar. Everything else, national parks, school system. You do know the school system was privatized back in the 1970s. We all got on to, the government, Department of Education. right? If the Department of Education is broke and runs out of money, we'll probably go back to a privatized school system in the next 20 years. I'm thinking the next 10 years, but power hates a vacuum, right? We are already poorly serving so many communities. So we lose the Department of Education, which we kind of have already. It's going to be rough out here. Prime example, Detroit schools, all the bankruptcy of the city, lots of schools closing. The schools were suing the Detroit Department of Education because their kids were not learning to read. Well, it went all the way to Supreme Court, and Supreme Court said, it's not the teacher's job to teach your child how to read. That's your job. So again, I keep trying to say, do you smoke crack? If you trust it in the government, if you think the school's going to teach your child to read, if you think it's the job of the school counselor to make sure 30 kids graduate high school 2 weeks before walking on stage, I feel for you. God bless you. Hopefully there's a program out there to help you. You dig what I'm saying? Because it's that ain't gonna work. You need to be in a season of learning and unlearning. Where's the other thing I had? Planned obsolescence. It's a really good word that I'm struggling with. But planned obsolescence. Cars, technology, software, all this stuff is planned to fail, right? When the new iPhone comes out and then everybody's old iPhone is struggling. Yeah, that's planned. This is part of why software as a service will always be very popular, because you may be on some software and it's not serving your company the best it could be. Now somebody comes along and markets you some new software. No, you need this new software, right? Just like a few years ago, PayPal was the big dog, still is for most of them, most affiliate marketing, most stuff. But then here comes Stripe, here comes Square, here comes all these other fintechs who have to compete and eat market share. And even Stripe now is getting ridiculous with its fees. It's eating billions of market share. It just is what it is, right? So the planned obsolescence for cars, for technology, for stuff, it's going to require liquidity, right? It's going to require the average person being able to buy a cell phone. How is that? Credit, right? So the crunch, I'm trying to figure out the best way to explain this to y'all. The reason we need to talk about tighter credit conditions is because right now, your average homeless person stand on the side like, hey, give me $1, thanks, please. I saw the last couple of homeless people out here in Austin with a whole square. Hit me with the square. Hit me with the whole. I can take Venmo. I can take PayPal. I can take Cash App. And you're like, are you for real? If you can do all that, homeless man, you need to go up them skills and go do something else where you can get paid bigger on the Cash App. Go push a lawnmower. Go do something, right? So these things matter because the change is coming in various things: Tesla, cars, energy, solar power, all that stuff. Now, another thing I want to hit on, which I have a long list, but I'm trying to finish it out, is gambling. And so we're in Texas, one of them southern states, Bible Belt. We looked up at our soccer stadium the other day. Yes, we were at the soccer stadium game, and it had it's called Point Bets. It's a franchise, but it's a gambling franchise. And they had set up shop at the stadium. I said, that means Texas is about to open up to gambling. It's in the books. They're already getting ready to vote on it. The point why am I bringing that up to you? Because the money maker for Louisiana, Oklahoma is all the Texas people flying over and driving over to gamble, because they can't do it here. And so let's just go there. Weed, marijuana, vices, alcohol, drugs, all these things are going to increase, because if I'm a state and times are economically weird and the government only has enough money for Social Security, Medicaid, Medicare, and defense, I need to make up money in my budget. How do I make up money in my budget? I'm going to let you have a weed store, but then I'm going to get you if I catch you with the weed. Too much weed, I'm going to catch you. Or the federal government want to come in and take it, they can take it. All right, it's a very dangerous game. Same thing with forfeiture, Listen, y'all know what I'm trying to say. When you see people driving from Louisiana to Texas, there's a highway. It became so notorious that they literally disbanded the whole sheriff's office. Like they literally put them under all investigation because they took the whole sheriff's department to Hawaii with the money they got off forfeiture assets. And what really kicked it off was a Hispanic man who was legal with $2,000 in his pocket, or was it 800? I think it was 2,000 to go bury his aunt in Texas, here in Texas, Dallas area. And they took his money. And he was like, "Oh no, baby, I'm not illegal. You're not about to play me. I'm about to go get a lawyer and you're gonna give me my money back." So of course he got his money and then some, but that's what opened up the cherry pot that this whole little Texas town sheriff department went to. That's interesting. They went to Hawaii on the money. They had slushy machines. They had Lamborghini police cars. They had all kind of crazy stuff. So there's money slippages in our economy. I hope that makes sense to y'all. That police and local departments are going to look to try to take advantage of. That's all. They're going to try to figure out how can we get some more of this tax dollars since the federal government, of course, is too busy paying for those other things. So you'll see a lot more gambling, weed, vices. The problem right now in Seattle and a lot of these places is Seattle just had they had what's that thing called that picks up the claw, that picks up the stuff. So they basically took away, they had 800 fires in 8 months. Or was it 400 fires in 8 months? It was something ridiculously, I mean, it's like ridiculous. It's like 700 fires in 8 months. And the fire department's like, yo, this is a danger to the city. It must happen today. So the government in Seattle finally said, okay, they went and cleared out all the tents. They clear about now. They're gonna be back in 2 weeks, but they did it because it's now affecting the city's budget. Because we gotta keep sending the fire truck out and gas is high, right? That's when it starts becoming a concern. So these are things that they all play a role. And I hope I'm not confusing y'all today in my conversation, because I may feel like I'm a little bit confusing y'all. But it's a kind of a circle, right? If the government feels people are nervous about credit tightening and they start investing in what? Alternative investments, land, right? People are buying land really hard right now. They're buying farms really hard right now, right? They're going to put chokeholds in place. And these are chokeholds of capitalism. This is a whole term. Y'all can study this yourself. But the chokeholds you see with Bitcoin, you see in business. So some of my business banks now, I can only take $7,000 out. I said $7,000. I thought the limit, whatever's in your account. Well, you got to give us a call. See, y'all saw me a couple of weeks ago when I was complaining about 20K. Oh, she know better. She just don't know what she's talking about. No, I've been in business for 8 years. I've been able to take 25,000 out of the bank without making a phone call. Now I go to some of these smaller regional banks. They're like, girl, 7K is all we can give you today. You got to come back tomorrow, or you got to call us. Cash. This is why you're going to see, and this is a choke point. I'm trying to get y'all to understand. This is a choke point. And this is why you're going to start seeing all these contractors with stripes and square and plastic and Melio. Because it is a way to, one, track them, track how much money they're making, right? And then also track you, right? And also tax you properly. Don't forget that part, tax you properly. So that's why I said your 3 pillars for me, not telling you what to do, but it's definitely cash. The second one is definitely things that I invest in that can keep returning money, equities and compounding interest investments. And then the third is commodities and hard money, right? I'm willing to take a higher interest not to deal with the bank and the speed of the bank, right? So I had to do a refinance on 2 of the properties I have. And they're like, oh, it's gonna be like 28 days. I'm like, 28 days? So that's the time, right? So I talked to 2 of the hard money people, and I was like, hey, listen, man, this one project won't close out for 28 days, and I really need to get started on this particular landline here in Texas. Can you help? Oh yeah, we can get that done in a week. What? He said, we can get that done in a week. Just send over this paperwork, send over the architect, send over this. It's done in a week. All right. I said, what's the credit score? 575. I said, what? He said, yeah, that's the minimum, 575. Okay. So again, even those DSCR loans I was telling y'all about, a lot of people are going 575, credit score is fine. I'll take that to get it moving. Y'all don't understand when credit tightens, the conditions, usually the conditions are going to get more stringent. It's going to be a 720 credit score to get anything. But no, not for producers, not for people building, not for people building, not even for people building flex space. What is flex space? It's those offices / garages / warehouses. So I had some other notes, but I'll just kind of close some of this. Basically, why am I talking about this? I want you to be familiar with the word chokepoint 2.0 before it gets popular on the internet. I want you to be common and familiar with equities and commodities. And, the fact when I post bank stocks moving up $1 a day, why is that so important? Because community, investment community, the flipping, the options community goes crazy when stocks move over $1 a day. That's a whole nother conversation. That's why Tesla was such a hot topic, because it moved all over the place daily. And as our stock market kind of gets quiet a little bit for the summer, supposedly, and then kind of stagnant for the next 5 to 10 years, which again, I don't believe that, it allows you to understand what's happening. So I want you to learn and unlearn. I want you to not be afraid of the information we bring on here. And I may be very ranting and raving, but it's because I literally see people coming here and I just gotta go get a job. And 2 years tax return, I can buy a house. I'm out. Or people saying I'm saving up for a down payment when there's 5,000 loan programs, and a lot of them you could do 0% or 1% down or 3.5% down. Our people are playing a very dangerous game of I'll wait until it's popular and common before I even look at it, right? Trucking is so popular and common. That's why we're in it like that, right? Credit repair is so popular and common, right? Even though we know the steps to do it, we just don't want to do it. So we pay somebody. And I strongly recommend you use our affiliate partner. Our affiliate partner is licensed, bonded, insured. So, these are things that are important. But a lot of y'all gonna see people on this internet talking more and more and more about women's, men, because they have no foothold in the outdoor reality, right? This stuff that a lot of people are saying online doesn't stand up in reality, right? And that's the scary part, that people are so willing to go down the rabbit hole and be on 5 to 8 hour hangouts when somebody could really bless their life and change their life 180 degrees if they would just be serious for themselves. So there's 246 people here. I've been on here 43 minutes, and I haven't eaten all day. I just had this coffee, so my brain is going down. So I'm going to read these comments. I'm gonna get out of here so I can go to dinner. I love bookkeeping. If you understand the plays Ericka's talking about with owning small businesses, what better way to find those businesses than doing their books? You know what I'm saying? Did you follow me there? Right? How do you find movers and shakers in a city? How do you have, I'm getting tired of talking about family offices, but I'm gonna do another one. I'm gonna show you. I found the people that do the car washes everywhere off of a YouTuber that one of y'all sent me that only has 200 views. And I went and looked up their family office, and it's stacked. They're doing trailers and mobile homes. Then they're doing car wash. Then there's a whole other department that does, what are they investing in? There's a whole other department that invests in timber. It was like, this is amazing. But the video had 200 views, and I immediately knew if I shared this video, people were like, it only got 200 views. Who is these people? These are licensed, certified accountants and lawyers and real estate investors who are like, I'm going to go get on YouTube, but they're so dry. They don't realize this is a platform of foolishness, right? And not even that it's a platform of foolishness. It's a platform that will give you more of what you search for. That's why I'm telling you, it's so dangerous for you to kind of get in these silos where you're only talking about dating and relationships over and over and over again. Like, what really weirds me out is people like, I'm married, I'm happily married. Why are you over here watching these videos then? That's weird. That's weird. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm a little weird. Let me talk to somebody. If that's the case, I might be getting audited. Jury for Jasmine, I would say no. Just can keep living, keep being consistent. But I'm telling you, I literally 1 year, I had I got paid off the books, and I was like, the feds be watching. So anyway, I got paid off books, so I was like, oh, I only made like 15K this year. Knowing that, well, I made more than that. All right. And the next year I made 150K. So the bank was like, now y'all know we can't give you no loan with this, Ericka, Miss Williams. You want to amend this? I said, I ain't amending a damn thing. But that's the nature of America. You could be down, then up next year, you can make more money, you can move it around. And I don't think people realize that. My husband, I don't take chances. We have an excellent tax career. Man, yeah. Over 90% of ordinary people fail to keep up with their receipts, transactions from server-related businesses. Yeah, this is why over 60% of Black and Latino people didn't even apply. They didn't even apply. They were like, my shit's all over the place. I'm not going to even apply. They didn't apply for the PPP. They didn't even apply for the EID loan either. Yes, the problem with that is I just go on QuickBooks on Friday and I look over the spend and I'm like, I know the spend. It's already categorized. You're just literally clicking it. If you got the kind of QuickBooks where you have it tied to your debit card in your bank, you straight. But people be tripping. Sherry, as much as there's a book called Bait and Switch, and there's a book called The Poor. It's the Susan lady that writes all those books, but she talks about, I know I can be a good mother. That's one of the titles or something like that. And so when you read it, it's all these really poor women who are like, but I can love somebody and I can be a really good mom. Ma'am, you're absolutely poor. You're homeless. You're living in a shelter. Why are you pregnant? What's your thought process? This doesn't make good sense. And so, unfortunately, even if we think, hey, that's not a good idea. You're poor. The quickest way to poverty is almost to be a single mother, unless that single mother works and makes like 70K plus a year. That's why nurses don't really struggle like that. That's why engineer women, which I'm here in Austin, and I met like 4 or 5 engineer women who are single moms. I would have never known. Their Instagram and their Facebook is full of vacations and a house and nice cars and kids going to soccer practice. It's a money thing, you know what I'm saying? So it's not just money that makes you a good parent, but being able to provide a consistent, healthy lifestyle for your kid is important. Well, good. Congratulations. Honey, that's what my whole thought process. Y'all sued Detroit schools to learn. The Supreme Court said that ain't that job. Cash App, I would say Venmo. I would say a Stripe. Stripe really hit them in the leg, right? Oh, thank you. Yes, honey, Sherry, blow my mind every time. When we were in Alaska, these Inuits were like, yo, like help your fellow Indians out. And I'm like, I ain't got no cash. There's an ATM over there. I also have Cash App. They're like, boy, if you don't get out of here. Straight out of a sci-fi movie when they take e-money, exactly. Texas has poker club. This is very true. And it's very unique rules. I like that though. Asset forfeiture. Thank you so much. Eminent domain as well. Listen, I know one or two people try to eminent domain down. They call the big boys and they drop them cases. Exactly. Delta 9 is legal to sell an NC, but as soon as you put fire to it, it's illegal. Okay, you do the math on that. So here's the thing. And I am a person who, our family's a bunch of cops and law enforcement and military. And I've always been like, drugs are bad, drugs are bad, drugs are bad. Stay away from the drugs. And when I fell off my motorcycle and I fell and injured myself and I've had surgeries, and then someone said, hey, take this. This is a great alternative for pain management. You're like, hmm, hmm. Right? You know, when you start seeing veterans who are like, I'm not trying to take a bunch of pills that the VA prescribed me. I want to take this, and the government doesn't want them to have it. It's like, you know what I'm saying? Cancer patients, all that stuff, but you get my point. Oklahoma is, oh my God, Oklahoma, like when you read Wild West stories and you think of like beautiful historic times, I think of hell being Oklahoma, right? They were unaliving Black people, unaliving Native Americans for oil. They were stabbing FBI agents. That's why that movie they're getting ready to put out this year, the Summer Moon. You'll have to see it with Leonardo DiCaprio. You see it. Money slippage. There you go. Money slippage. Okay. Oh, that was on my notes. Thank you. Thank you. Whoever this is, check. Thank you for even saying that. Money slippage. The best example of this. What is the number one city in our United States for money laundering? Take a guess. I'm gonna let y'all guess, and then I'm gonna come back to it. But this is the exact part of what I forgot. It was in my notes, and I just forgot for a second. It's on my list here. My notes have like 15 on it. It's ridiculous. So money slippage is the highest, careful way to say this. Hold on a second. Time machine. Because my legs are crossed. The highest money slippage is New York City. One of the highest counterfeit, illegal activity. Chinese people sending stamps, illegal fake stamps, which cost our government $8 billion. And they won't let the United States Postal Service go to China to fight it. Is New York City. So guess what happened? Now, again, this is me paraphrasing. Please go research the article. Capital One and Key Bank were not allowed to take deposits this week. Capital One and Key Bank in New York City were put on freeze mode this week. Why is that? Because of money slippage. Government like, look, y'all doing too much. Capital One and Key Bank in New York, y'all need to calm it down. Too much money is moving where? Overseas, all around the place, questionable. But y'all already know that. Let's not play. Our money can get you a bridge loan. Yeah, that's a hard one. I ain't gonna be able to do that one. Someone stopped me yesterday about a decent. I'm telling you. You know, you need a fast close? Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. That's very correct. Women's, and men. Diamond Dave, listen. Diamond Dave. I thought I was Wolf of Wall Street today on some bank stocks. I was like, and then I realized you can't, I better stop because I can only trade like 3 times a week. I forgot the rule. I was like, oh my God, they're going to get me. They're going to lock my account up. No. E-Trade going to snitch on me. But long and the story short, I felt like I was on full Wall Street today. I said I was about to check Diamond Dave. But again, all this stuff is super important. And if y'all missed any of this, please rewind the video back. But the 3 pillars are so important: is cash and T-bills. Number 2 is equities and long-term compounding investments. And number 3 is commodities and hard money for a reason. Dogs. You know what, John? There's a great quote from an old movie. It said, "Don't go shooting all the dogs because one had fleas." It was a man talking to a woman, you know, trying to get her, but that what made me think of that. Chamber of Commerce, that's right. Planned obsolescence is the word. If people use 4 out of those 8 hours to get a tech job, it would be different. Listen, I'm just telling y'all, like, I looked up, I had got my affiliate pay today from like 10 of my affiliates, and I have 150, so just to go that way. And I was looking up conferences, and you know, I was looking up the 100 Days of Summer. You know how we love talking about summer, and it was like literally the next 3 weeks here in Austin. You got Patti LaBelle, Gladys Knight, Ericka Badu, like 50 other artists coming through. Them artists, they are touring to make up all that pandemic money. They need their money. Y'all make sure to give the thing a like. I'm going to pick up one of these simple business. Let me just put it this way. I'm not telling y'all what to do. I'm just saying I sit in the room with people who have very lucrative companies. Their number one company is lucrative. And in a way they are doing their tax, let me not say it that way. They happen to invest in other small businesses that happen to be car washes and, 10 units and 20 units and small little stores, like boutique stores, right? I asked this one guy, why did he have the boutique store? His wife wanted it. And most of the stuff she sells online anyway, but she wants the physical location. So they have staff and all this stuff, and you're like, okay. Like that's just, it's ways for tax segregation. That's the best way I can say that without going too far. The people that own property in Mexico and Panama have double citizenship. It's a process. That's a whole nother video. I can't even do it. In Panama, if you buy a property over 300K, you can get citizenship faster. I'm not gonna lie to you. I think it's dangerous when you have over 150, 145 different country IDs being found at the border. And then we had a Pakistani terrorist that's on multiple people terrorist lists. Yeah, I don't like that. I think it's dangerous if you don't. And here's the thing. If your family has enough money to fly you from China, Kurdistan, Uzbekistan, Turkey, Russia to Mexico, and you walk across, if you can do all that, you could do the paperwork. You could pay. You could just pay and do it the right way. Because, that's just, New York was the name. Right. Yeah. So sorry to hear that, Jordan Jeff. Everybody thinks it's Vegas or Miami, but it's actually New York City. New York City is the hotbed. Like, this is why one of the reasons of there's so much paperwork going on in New York City. If the government just sat there all year, they would be busy. And this is the thing, we associate, okay, prime example, low-level scams. Somebody taking little baby money. And what do I call baby money? Under $1 million is baby money. I'm talking about people, as you can see, the guy that got the ventilators, he got the government contract for ventilators for like $57 million and then left the country out of New York City. And everybody's like, who approved this guy for his government contract? I'm talking about big boy, high level, high dollar stealing, right? I'm not saying someone taking 10K from you, 5K from you, 20K from you is not important. It is. It's a big number. But I'm talking about real theft. That, like, when the Black community talks about theft, they talk about preachers and pimps. And I'm like, no, I'm talking about American greed, taking millions and millions of dollars. We don't even understand the concept of what is big money, right? I have two people right now I know who got like $10 million government contracts. And it was like, oh my God, this is life-changing. But for the people they were sitting around talking, they were like, that's no money. You know what I'm saying? So it's all relative in that way. When you can't eat or you broke, $3,000 is important. When you in a big old house, you got millions of dollars like Grant Cardone, millions are important, right? This is so important. Jim, this is a prime example. How parents do not know their child can read till 9th and 12th grade. No books in those houses. There's no books. It's one of those things where parents say, I tell my kids to read. Your kids will only do what you do, right? Andrea J, I am. I think we moved the price up. So it's like $200 for 30 minutes for students. For strangers, I ain't never talked to you before, I don't know you, it's $500. Like, I'm in a crunch season of like 100 days of like me enjoying my family. My family's in town right now. Me enjoying my family, enjoying boating, enjoying planes, enjoying my life. And then the confluence of me starting new things and new projects that are going to take the next year and a half. You know what I'm saying? It's going to be so I do take calls. I'm not going to play with you. But I do be like, hey, a lot of schedules blocked off. They might as well at this point. So For the freedom, yeah, I asked them. I sent an email over to their staff. I didn't see any response, so I don't know what's wrong with it. The SBA channel just put out a video on their channel on doing business in Panama, particular to women in business. Yeah, so prime example, I'm here in Austin, Texas. Austin, Texas is going to get nonstop flights to Panama, nonstop flight to Amsterdam, nonstop flights to, what's that country down there? Argentina? A couple of places. We're getting nonstop flights to. Nonstop to Colombia or something like that. We're getting a bunch of nonstops coming up out of Austin. Why is that important? Because it used to be Houston. And in order for you to get back in the country, you had to go through what? All this immigration processing. That means Austin's about to build a big old immigration and processing place here at the airport, which is good. But also here in Austin, they just finished doing a whole invest in Belize, invest in us, invest in Panama. And I was like, dude, I was before that. I don't care what y'all doing. It's late. So thank you. I appreciate that, Jeremy and Jasmine. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? There you go. There was a guy to defraud SBA for almost $7 million in EBITDA loans. This is why this conversation we're having about, yeah, that guy scammed a guy for, or he bought a course and it was a scam. It's like, I'm so sick to my stomach when I hear that stuff because I think it's so pathetic, to be honest. I know that sounds harsh, but just to finish the show up, you have to learn and unlearn. If you don't know what you're doing and you have nobody in your economic sphere to talk to about business, credit, life, you think a stranger should go out of their way and talk to you for free and give you free courses and give you free training? Go to the community college. They charge them too. You know what I'm saying? Like, a lot of people are like expecting people to be their parents. The society owes you no grace. It doesn't owe you free education, right? I'm an American. I deserve to get free high school. You see what the free education will give you at the public school is. You see what it is, right? It's just enough for you to walk and not fall apart, right? Like, it's just enough for like a dum-dum. You have to be pressing so that your children are ahead, right? When I'm going to college and half my roommates at ECU are from DC and Maryland, and their parents have them as authorized users on cards, and my roommate's mom, who owns a flea market shop for like 7 years, it's got $100,000 American Express AU card coming to the room, and we're sitting here arguing about bus drivers and why Black people should go to college. It's a waste of time, and rap music and entertainment. It's sad. Where everybody's scamming these course grifters, they're grifting. Did you know how to do options before you talked to Todd Milley? No, I didn't. Did you know how to do options before you bought Diamond Dave's course? No, you didn't. Did you know how to invest in tax liens before I sold it to you? No, you did not. Right? I even got on calls with people who went down and did it way improperly, and I was like, you just paid someone's tax bill for free. Now you spent all that money. You could have just booked a call or bought a course and educated yourself, right? That kind of stuff. People will sit in credit bad for 7, 10, 8 years instead of doing what? Paying a little bit of money. You're not owed anything free in this country, right? Everybody keeps saying, well, it's a free country. It is a free country. It's free to you to make an ass out of yourself. It's free. It's free for you to struggle. It's free for you to bump your head till you're willing to learn and unlearn the different opportunities out here. Honey, Austin is busting. It's made billions, so much so that it literally just paid $90 million to the South Terminal Airport because we didn't care. We're like, no, we're going to take more money. That's how much money they're making. That's how much money they're making. I had someone ask me why they need to buy my reading program if the teacher is there. It took everything in me not to laugh knowing what I was about to say. Woo! Listen. These people really do believe they're supposed to drop their kid off like an empty tablet and the school's supposed to fill them up. Good luck. So there's 269 people here. If you've enjoyed the content so far, hit a 1 in the comments, and thank you for supporting the channel. Thank you for being here on a Friday. It is Memorial Day weekend. I want y'all to enjoy your time with your family, but I do want you to kind of look back at some of the contents of things I've said, things that you might want to research this weekend on your own free time. Is Checkpoint 2.0. It is cash and T-bills. It is equities. What are equities? Look that up. What are commodities? Um, and what is hard money? And what is energy? What is economic resistant businesses, right? Um, a lot of the template businesses people are clowning is because people want to start a business and become a millionaire overnight. And that's not how that works. That's not how that works. Nah, I have a friend who is complaining about owning a UPS store because it only puts 80K in his pocket. He doesn't go in there. He doesn't attend any functions, but he thinks it's like it should be producing him $100,000 for a store he don't go inside and don't do anything with. So what we've been taught about passive income and passive investments is very off-centered. And so if you actually study people with some money, when they were clowning Soldier Boy, why you own so many businesses? And it's because the impression of a Black person physically being in each and every one of their businesses, and it doesn't correlate, it doesn't match. But if you actually look at wealthy people, they own multiple businesses. They just don't physically be inside those locations. And that's the key part of it, right? But yeah, learn and unlearn, y'all. This is a great season to do it. This is a great season to get into tech. This is a great season to learn about stocks. Because if you don't have any flexibility in your learning capacity, whew, it's about to be a rough 10, 20 years for you. Rough. So anyways, you guys, girl. Okay. This is your girl Ericka from the Classic On Blog. Thank you so much for attending the show today. I appreciate all of you. Have a great day.